Bank of Jamaica brings you Common Sense with BOJ. Real stories, real laughs, and real lessons to help you protect, grow, and manage your money. Mattress savings.
At least my mattress. You charge me to sleep on it.
Partner plan.
Remember last year we needed our payouts early, but Miss Pam gave it to her cousin first.
Or a sketchy loan flyer.
Electrifying deals.
See why making the right financial choices is pure common sense. Brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, empowering everyday Jamaicans one episode at a time.
Grandpa, it's 2026. You can't keep hiding all your money in every single pocket forever.
This is the Small Axe Jesse Ryle representing for CVM. See it happen. We and the lion them go, whoa, whoa, whoa. We and the lion them good.
Thanks for joining us for CVM News at Noon. It's Thursday, April 16, 2026. I'm Amoy Harriet. Up first, the U.S.-Israel war on Iran and the ensuing impact on the availability of fertilizers is already impacting suppliers in Jamaica. CEO of the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, Garnet Edmondson, says food security will also be impacted as the government moves to implement contingencies to cushion the effects.
It is widely watched and recognized that there is a geopolitical tension right across the length and breadth of this world. And we hear that it may impact fertilizer, may impact a number of things. Now, I want to reassure our farmers that under the guidance of our minister and the team from the Ministry of Agriculture, led by our PS, Mr. Dermot Spence, we have started to take steps to ensure that we can feed Jamaica and Jamaica will continue to eat.
In the meantime, the Mining and Quarrying Association of Jamaica, MQAJ, says rising fuel and electricity costs could push up prices for materials like limestone and sand. The association says operators are facing high production and transportation costs while still recovering from Hurricane Melissa losses. President Sam Millington says energy costs are affecting the entire industry and increases may be unavoidable. Mr. Millington is urging stakeholders across construction and real estate to plan accordingly, as any increases will reflect broader systematic pressures. To other news now, the management of the University of the West Indies, Mona, says it has moved to address concerns raised by staff over salary negotiations. This follows 2 days of protest where workers gathered at the main entrance of the campus demanding an update on wage talks. In a release on Thursday, the university says its executive management team met with representatives of the group despite no formal notice being given. The administration says it provided a detailed update on the review process, including progress so far and ongoing discussions with unions. The representatives, in the meantime, have agreed to relay the information to other staff members and allow time for negotiations with the government to be completed. The university says it remains engaged as efforts continue to bring the matter to a resolution. Transport Minister Darrell Vaz says in addition to the launch of the National Rural School Bus Program in September 2025, the ministry has kept its promise to open a school bus operations center to assist with children's safety on the road. Speaking at Wednesday's opening, Minister explained that the system will not only help with children's safety, but minimize the economic burden on parents while maintaining longevity. The new system will act as an operational hub for other school buses that have already been deployed.
This facility is the operational hub of the entire program of 110 school buses servicing every parish in Jamaica. From here, we will have real-time visibility of the bus movements through GPS tracking. Routes will be managed more efficiently and effectively, and we'll use data to inform decisions and continuously improve service delivery.
In the meantime, the Transport Minister says since the launch of the rural school bus system, over 70 buses have been deployed to key rural routes, which serves thousands of students daily. He says the system is already reaping real-time results.
Parents are seeing the reduced transportation costs, students are getting to school on time, and there's a greater sense of safety and order in the system. That is the outcome the government set out to achieve, and that is what we are delivering.
Now, Chairman of the Negril Destination Assurance Council, Richard Wallace, is welcoming the deployment of a temporary ambulance to Negril after months without emergency services. Concerns grew following a recent death of a tourist, but Mr. Wallace says the new unit, now based at the Negril Fire Station, will help ease transportation challenges.
It has been without an ambulance for a while now, for many months, and however, it was because the one we had an accident, and we've been trying to get it repaired for a while. An ambulance was sent to us from Montego Bay. I believe it was the one from Sav that was repaired in Montego Bay, but at the end of the day, we do have an ambulance right now.
Now, amid growing concerns that too many Jamaican youths are disengaged and lacking meaningful opportunities, stakeholders in Hanover say they are taking action. The Social Development Commission, SDC, in partnership with the Infinity Cooperative Credit Union Jamaica Limited, has launched a youth entrepreneur program aimed at equipping students with real-world skills and direction. The initiative brings together students from Merlin Otti, Nakava, Racines, and Green Island High Schools for a month-long business challenge. Now, each team is given $10,000 to develop and fund a project while receiving training, mentorship, and guidance along the way. At the end of the program, teams will be assessed with top performance walking away with cash prizes, including a $90,000 grand prize.
This program is more than a competition. It is a transformational journey designed to nurture entrepreneurial thinking and equip our youth with real-world business experience. It provides a structured platform for students to move from ideas to action, from creativity to enterprise.
To quantify this impact now would be doing a disservice. We have 5 schools, and I can assure you that the success of the program after this iteration will cause a number of other schools to want to come on board. We'll be impacting schools, but most significantly, we'll be impacting individual lives by giving them information that they can take for themselves to be better able to manage businesses, to be better entrepreneurs, to be better individuals.
Let's head now to a break, but stay with us. We'll have more when we come back.
Can you do this?
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winfred Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Welcome back to CVM News at noon. Energy Minister Darrell Vaz has announced adjustments to Jamaica's fuel pricing mechanism, moving it further in line with global oil market movements. The change has raised concerns about further increasing gas prices and what this could mean for the cost of living. We're joined now by development economist Dr. Nelson Christian Stokes. Good afternoon, Dr. Stokes.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Not doing too bad. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Doing well, thank you.
Let's jump right into it. What do these adjustments to the fuel pricing mechanism actually mean? Explain for our viewers.
Okay, so there's that $4.30, $4.50, I believe, cap on any single movement in the adjustment of prices. So you're not, you know, it's to prevent you going to the gas station one morning and seeing, you know, a $10 per liter increase. So even as you know, global prices for oil and that affects the price of oil that Jamaica gets. Even as that may move, as it does daily, that the shock that is passed on to Jamaican consumers is modulated. Now, that works well, has worked well in normal periods of the price of oil fluctuating. It has even worked well when there's been, you know, larger than normal movements in the price of oil. But with what is going on now, with the sharp increases over a short period of time, I think that the argument that is being made is that the rate of adjustment needs to be much larger than what has obtained until now. And I certainly understand that, but you know, clearly volatility is a problem, and just the price of petrol, just as one component, is also quite burdensome on the Jamaican public.
So how closely will local fuel prices now follow global oil prices?
Well, there's no, you see, there's no, in the oil market, there's no such thing as a local oil price. So, for example, you know that the U.S. claims energy independence, that it produces all the oil that it needs. But yet, the fact that there is a reduction in the export of oil from the Emirates, all right, coming out of the conflict and the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, which is halfway across the world, even that has affected the price of gas, petrol, in the United States, even though the United States is energy independent. So what matters is the price on the global market through which all oil must pass and all oil is priced. So as long as prices continue to move in that area, I'm afraid that we're going to be affected in Jamaica.
And when you say we're going to be affected, what does that mean now for transport?
Well, as prices continue to go up, then we're, yes, good question. Now, inflation is usually reported in headline inflation and then what they call core inflation. Core inflation usually excludes fuel and food costs, which are viewed as volatile. Now, we'll note in the last report that our food prices has actually come down, and I believe quite a bit of that is as a result of renewed production following Melissa. So that is good. However, fuel prices are continue to go up, and therefore inflation, I'm afraid to say, will continue to go up. My expectation is that it will be transitory, that as soon as prices come back down, we'll see a tracking down in our fuel prices as well. But, you know, bear in mind, you know, that when you talk about fuel prices, not just filling up your car at the gas station, it's your cooking gas. It's the companies that produce things that need oil. The price of those, there's going to be pressure on the price of those things to go up. So it affects fertilizer. The price of fertilizer will go up for our farmers as well. So when we speak of oil prices, it's a bit of a misnomer, but the entire natural gas, carbon-based energy, natural resources infrastructure has been disrupted. So almost everything, carbon products touch almost every part of our lives, and we're going to see an increase in prices in all those parts, not just prices at the pump, I'm afraid to say.
I'm happy you pointed that out, Dr. Stokes, because since these conversations started in terms of fuel prices increasing, we see where the persons who are complaining the most are motorists, but the regular Jamaican at home who may not even own a car perhaps don't realize that they too are being affected.
Yeah,
so you're saying that everyone stands to be impacted by these changes.
You're going to see it in your JPS bill. If you wait long enough, you're going to see it in the price of your bread. You're going to see it in the price of your fuel, because these things have to be moved. We have made a decision in Jamaica to go the highway direction, which means that it's vehicles, and most of which are carbon energy powered. So you're going to see those prices sooner or later being passed on. So it touches every aspect of our lives, we could do without an increase in electricity rates, for example, or the price of electricity. But that both consumers and persons who use it at the corporate level for manufacturing, but that is really what we're faced with at the moment.
So Minister Vaz has suggested that COVID-style measures like working from home, can be implemented to reduce fuel use. For example, how effective do you think this would be?
Well, we'll see. First of all, in terms of public policy and communicating it, I would not use the C word. I think that brings along with it a lot of baggage and bad memories to talk about COVID. However, we have seen in Pakistan, in Sri Lanka, in Singapore, in Egypt, a lot of countries that are heavily dependent on imported oil, where they have done a number of things, which sound COVID-like, right? Like ask that if you are able, you work from home. Instead of one quite popular thing is the 4 day as opposed to the 5 day work week. And the idea is that the less movement, then the less consumption of electricity. And we'll see if that is in fact the case, because clearly, if you don't go out, okay, so you're saving on petrol, but are you using your fan at home? Are you using your AC at home? Are you using more gas at home? So we'll have to see how it pans out, but I certainly understand the effort at a national level to find ways to reduce the consumption of carbon-based fuels. Now, I'm hoping that it becomes a fillip to the Jamaican economy and indeed to the global economy to make a move towards more renewable energies. So, for example, if we had a small nuclear plant in Jamaica, if we had solar energy and wind energy, there's no way for that to be stuck in the Strait of Hormuz, right, or anything similar to that. That's our own. That's nature's gift to Jamaica. So I'm hoping that we double down on our efforts to change the exposure that we have to global energy sources.
In terms of numbers, Dr. Stokes, because we're having this conversation now, but our viewers who might be sitting at home, they're wondering, okay, you guys say it's going to increase by how much? I know obviously you wouldn't be able to provide specifics, but ballpark, what we're thinking, because before this war started, for example, my vehicle used ultra low sulfur diesel. I could go to any gas station, it's 200 and little bit, 202, 206. Now I'm going to a gas station, it's 240 odd.
Yeah.
What are we looking
that's what
at?
you're going
What
to be
should we
talking about,
expect in terms of numbers?
Well, first of all, I think we can. I think yesterday it maybe even went down, and I went down by a couple of cents. All right, so that is good. So we are very much interested in the price of oil globally stabilizing, if not starting to come back down. That's the first thing. If things continue to go off the rails, if there's not a second round of negotiations, if the ceasefire comes and goes and hostilities return, if Iran blocks other ports from which Saudi Arabia is exporting its oil, and things go really badly sideways, I'm afraid it's going to get a lot worse. So we all have a vested interest in resolving this dispute, not only from not only from an economic point of view, but certainly from a the point of view of where the humanities are, where we are as humankind, and Pope Leo has stressed this in what kind of earth we're trying to create here. But it should be a warning to us if Minister Vaz is concerned about a $4 plus adjustment on a daily basis, that would have to be adjusted. That there is a non-trivial risk that it could be going up by more than that per day for several days during the course of the week, and it could get bad. But so I don't want to be alarmist, but it is a risk. You talk about 200 to 240, it could go well beyond that. All right, so we all need to join together to retain some sanity, return some sanity to the world and to the markets, and also, as I mentioned before, redouble our efforts to become energy independent, which Jamaica can become.
In 10 seconds, Dr. Stokes, you spoke about the risk to households. What then should we be doing if there's anything we can be doing?
Well, look,